So if you do have questions during the webinar, you can type those into the question box, and I will answer those live on the screen here during the webinar. And will do my best to keep on top of those as we go through. And if there's anything extensive, I may come back to it at the end, and I'll let you know if that's going to be the case. You are muted, just to let you know as well. So again, answer questions in the question box, which you will see on your webinar control panel. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to start first with some of the resources that are available to you within Paragon to learn more about green features, energy efficiency, and what's available to you as a member. So in the top right menu bar within Paragon, there's a link called MLS Documents. If you click on that, you will be brought into a folder where you will find a variety of different subfolders. The three I want to mention today are the green and energy efficient fields. There's different files here, which I'll show you in the next screenshot. You do have access to a HERS database. These are properties that have been evaluated and provided a HERS score in the state of Vermont. This is available to search, so if you are licensed in Vermont and are entering a Vermont listing, I encourage you to take a look at that database. You can search by property address and see if that particular property may have a HERS score. Also located in here, are the Paragon listing input forms. Under the Green Resources folder, we have some definitions about what some of the fields within listing maintenance and within the Paragon system mean. So power production, the green marketing fields. We do also have a press release announcing our auto population option that's available with Vermont properties that may have solar installed on them. We have the Green and Energy Efficient Addendum from the Appraisal Institute. This is a great resource if you are looking to find out what types of features of a property are important as part of the appraisal process, to make sure that if you're a listing agent, you're entering that information as comprehensive as possible. But if you're a buyer agent, and if you have a buyer that's looking for specific features, that's a neat guide as well. There's also some documents here that may be beneficial to you to share with some of your clients, such as the Home Energy Information Guide, the Homeowners and Contractors document about appraising green and energy efficient homes. Great resources of information to learn more about all of this in general. So when you click on the HERS database, you're going to see it's really a PDF file. It goes back to 2011. So any property in the state of Vermont that may have had a HERS score going back to 2011 should be located on this database for you to use as a point of reference. So one thing I want to talk about for a moment is data standardization. There has been a movement nationwide for a number of years with a company called RESO, which is the Real Estate Standards Organization, to help develop data standards so that those of you that are practicing can be familiar with fields, and if you move, there should be similar types of fields in other MLS systems throughout North America, and also provide this standard for vendors that are working with data from, possibly up to about 700 MLSs throughout the country, to provide a standard so that their products and services can work better with all of these different data elements from the MLSs throughout the country. So our listing input forms have a few different sections on them. You'll notice a section for green marketing and third-party verifications. The green marketing fields are designed to be just that. It's a high-level There's, I think, 5 fields available that can just provide guidance for somebody that's maybe searching for a property with these types of features. You know, does it have energy efficient appliances, you know, lighting, windows, if there's some water sustainability and conservation options available on the property, indoor air quality. So these are designed to really provide information at a high level if a property has some of these features and attributes. The green building verifications are the programs that have had a certification issued on them, whether it be a HERS score, maybe they've had a home energy audit done and they have a home energy score. We have a couple of specific programs that Vermont offers, and those are included in here as well. You know, is it a passive house and things? So there's 3 different sets available of the green verification programs within listing maintenance and also search. We also have another category of field called power production. This is where you're going to find your photovoltaics, which is solar, or wind. Solar has gained significant popularity over the years, so it's important information to make sure you're including on a listing when you're entering it in the system. Within listing input, we did create different buckets for these particular property attributes because not every property has these types of features and characteristics associated with it. So if you do have a property that doesn't apply, you can easily skip over these buckets of data. But if you do have them, we encourage you to please fill them out. In addition to the specific buckets that we have available in listing maintenance, we have features throughout the system where you can enter things like, you know, an appliances, you know, are there Energy Star appliances on the property, construction equipment, interior and exterior features, and heating. So these are intermingled throughout the system. So these are things that a property may have relative to the particular features. So you'll want to be sure to fill that information out as well because there are buyers that are looking for those types of things. Also, when you're entering a listing, it's important to be sure to fill out the electric and financing fields related to these as well. Specifically with solar, there is a significant difference in the transaction process if a property has solar, if it's seller owned or third party owned. So if it's an owned or leased system. So we do provide you the opportunity under the electric category or the electric field to indicate the type of ownership in addition to some of the other features here that are highlighted in red. The financing section has the ability for you to indicate if there's leased renewables, if there's a power purchase agreement in place, and if it's a property assessed clean energy field. So we encourage you to also fill these fields out because they certainly help round out the picture with a property that may have power production attributes. Okay, so auto population. Last October, our MLS was actually the first in the nation to auto-populate solar data within an MLS system. So currently we have about just under 7,000 records in the state of Vermont that we get from the Vermont Public Service Department where they have solar data available on the property. So what we've done is we were able to work with CRS, which is our tax and public records vendor, and bring this data into their database so that if you are starting a listing, you can use the auto-pop functionality to pull in that PV data into your listing automatically and not have to manually enter it. So we realized that those of you that practice in Vermont are likely not going to be using this auto pop function because the data set that is available in Vermont is not as robust as some of the other states that we service. But I do encourage you to go in and have a look, especially if you do know that that property has solar data or solar installed on it, and go through this process. So what you're going to do is to start the auto pop process, you're going to enter, a county, maybe a street number and a street name. Then you're going to hit search, and at the top here you'll see the search results, and this particular search returned one property record. And if you click on the SPAN or tax ID number, you're going to see the tax report with information that is available on that particular property. You'll notice down at the bottom there is a section called Power Production, and it has a lot of the data fields populated that will automatically translate into listing maintenance. These are all important facts about the solar install in that particular property. So once you verify that this is the property you want, you're going to check that little box in the top right that you see a red circle around, and then you're going to hit the autofill button that you see with a red arrow. When you do that, you're going to see the load tax data form. This will pre-select any field that has a value associated with it. So you'll notice that even SPAN number has a value, so that's pre-selected, assessment year, address, and then you're going to see in that red box the power production data related to that PV install. So you'll generally want to keep all of that selected. If there's anything you don't want to auto-populate, you can deselect that particular field, and once you hit save, it then translates into the listing input form in listing maintenance, which is what you're going to see on the right side of the screen here, which is auto-populated into the power production section. You will notice that the year install, while available on most of the records, it was not able to be verified and validated that the year install was truly the year install and not just the year that the certificate of public good was issued in Vermont. So we are not auto-populating the year install at this time, but hope some point down the road we may be able to do that as we work with the state of Vermont on that particular data. But it generally is available, so you can maybe verify that information with your seller and then manually enter that into listing maintenance. So once the data is in Paragon, how are you going to find it? This is particularly important for appraisers because these features and attributes do play an important role in the appraisal process. So there's a couple of things that you're going to want to do when you're searching for these particular properties. The first is to customize your search templates. So when I complete the PowerPoint, I'm actually going to go into Paragon and show some of this live. So if there's any questions that come up, we can certainly look at some specific examples at that time. So you're going to want to add the power production fields if you're looking for the presence of photovoltaics, which is solar or wind. If you're looking for any type of building certification on a program, or any fields where there might be specific features included in that which are important to your buyer. You're then going to want to also customize your spreadsheet view because you can search on these particular properties and these fields, but really you want to know, okay, what are the values that are going to be returned in these particular fields, like power production? Is there solar there? Are there building certifications? And if so, which building certifications? So there are 2 sets of power production fields, and there are 3 sets of third-party verifications. So going through the search process, you're going to want to go to the Customize and Fields, and you'll see here you have the ability to search to find any particular field that you want. So if you're looking for the building certifications, we suggest typing in green into the find box, and you'll see it'll just pull up those fields to start with green. So this is where you're going to find your building verifications and things like that. We suggest typing in power to get the power production fields, and then you can add whichever fields that you wish to your search form, and then hit apply, and that will update your search form accordingly. So again, the screenshot on the top here, this has to do with the power production fields that are available. You're going to want to, when you're actually doing the search, so because there's 2 sets of power production fields and 3 sets of green verification programs, we suggest that you add the 2 and 3 respectively to your search form, because when we did the conversion from Inovia to Paragon, most fields did translate over correctly into the new field structure, but some may have missed the slot 1, and so it may have gone into a slot 2 or even a slot 3. And some properties that have a green verification program issued on them may have more than one as well. But when you are searching by these fields, we suggest you can only do one at a time. So if you are looking for a building certification, you're going to want to check all of those off, because that will search for any property that may have any one of those types of building certifications. If you add the green verification program too and check all of those off, well, not a single property is going to have both of those. So when you're looking at the fields, there's kind of the AND operative across the fields. So it's looking for those fields on one and also the other, and that's not going to work. So you're going to have to do the 1 and then the 2 and then the 3 for a comprehensive picture. So once you have conducted your search and you're getting your spreadsheet results, this is where you're going to be able to view your search results and the properties that actually have either PV included or a green building verification on it. So you're going to want to add these fields to your spreadsheet. So it's done in the same manner as adding them to your search form. You're going to come up and hit Customize and Fields, and then you have the ability to search. Again, this example is green, and typing in green, you're going to get the green verification fields, and you can add in the program 2 and program 3 here. And then if you type in power into that search bar, you will get the power production fields as well. Once you have these in place, then you'll be sure to want to hit save, and then they will be added to your spreadsheet view. If this is something that you use regularly, we do encourage you to save maybe your search form with these added, as well as a spreadsheet view, and you can easily do that in the name field rather than the MLS defined default spreadsheet. You can name this, your green and power production or whatever makes sense for you, so that you can easily pull this back up each time you need to search. So once these fields have been added to your spreadsheet, you'll be able to easily see, okay, all of these properties here have photovoltaics, which is solar, and some of them also have a building certification associated with them as well. So it's easy to sort these in the spreadsheet view so that you can make sure you're looking at what you need to look at correctly. And here's the other end of that. So this particular property here, the one at the top and the bottom, it has 3 building certifications associated with it, and some of these just have 1. So it's just an example to show you, once you've added these to your spreadsheet results view, how it's going to translate on the screen. So if you want to look into more detail on these particular properties, we did create 2 green property reports. There's an Agent Green, which has all of the data associated with it with an appropriate agent level view. And then we also created a Customer Green, which removes the confidential information on it, which we do with any customer type property review that you see within the system. So these 2 particular reports have all 3 sets of the green verification program data included on them, the 2 sets of power production fields, as well as the green marketing fields. So this is, if you have a property that has these types of features, we suggest using this particular property report because it will give you the most comprehensive view in the system of those features. So as you're going through listing input and maintenance, you'll notice that there are still all the different data authorizations that are available for you to distribute your listing based on the settings that your office has specifically set up. So here, all of these are defaulted to yes to be able to distribute that information. So once this data is in the MLS, if you choose to send your listings out to some of the third-party websites, we do send these green fields data elements out to them. Right now, I am only aware of our own MLS public-facing website, NEREN.com, that is actually displaying these fields. So either a consumer is going to see this data on our public-facing website, or they're going to find it because they've come to you as maybe a buyer agent to help assist them to find properties that may have solar or building certifications on them. So we do send this data out in intra-office feeds. It's available on IDX. So if you as an agent or office have an IDX website, these data elements are available there, and if you have not added them yet, it may be an opportunity for you to do so. It's also available in VOW and some specialty feeds that we offer. So what are the next steps that we're going to do? We're going to continue to evaluate what we have in our MLS software and improve upon that based on your input, member feedback, and what you think could be better or work different. If anybody has used the auto population process for the Vermont solar data, if you could let me know, that would be great. We are trying to kind of put together some case studies, some use case scenarios related to that, and hopefully create a success story around that First in the Nation initiative that we have launched here in our little corner of the Northeast. If there's new green verification programs, building certifications that come on board, we will continuously monitor that and add those into the database to make sure that we have the appropriate options for you that are marketing these properties and for buyers that are looking for properties with these features. The power production data is going to be added onto the CRS property reports. So if you have a listing now, especially in Vermont, that may have solar associated with it, what I would encourage you to do is look up that property in CRS and get the data and add it to your listing. Or the other thing you can do is you can start the auto pop process but not actually create a new listing to get those data elements as well. So I can go back through that if anybody wishes to see how that might be done. We're also working to make the power production data searchable within the CRS database. And we are hoping down the road that we will be able to provide this solar auto pop function in all of the states that we serve. We are currently working with with over 60,000 records in Massachusetts that we now have access to. So we're hoping here in the next few months that we may be able to provide the auto pop in for anybody who may also be licensed to work in Massachusetts, to allow that process to happen there. We are also talking with the folks in New Hampshire, the Public Utilities Commission, because really what has to happen first is the solar data has to be made publicly available. And currently it's not in the state of New Hampshire, so we're working with some different groups there to see what we can do to help move that along. And then the last thing that's going to be coming down the line is Helix data auto-population. So what is Helix? Helix is a project being worked on by Lawrence Berkeley National Labs as well as Northeast Efficiency Partnerships to take that green program verification data, the building certifications, and have that be available for auto-population into the MLS as well. So we're hoping that not only will we have solar data available, but also the building certification data available to be auto-populated into the MLS as well. So that's something that's on our radar and hopefully will be coming down the pipe here later this year. So what I'm going to do now, hopefully, are there any questions so far? Okay. I am going to go ahead and hop into Paragon itself, because while it's all fun and dandy to look at something on a PowerPoint, I think it's best to see kind of live examples within the system of some of these things as well. So I mentioned the documents. So this is where you're going to find under MLS documents those different resources. So here's the folder for the fields, the HERS database, and the listing input forms that has that those three different buckets of data available. For the auto-population process, you're going to go to Listings, Add Listing, Residential. For those of you that are in Vermont or other states, you're going to need to first, the default is for New Hampshire, you're going to need to first select Vermont or the other state that you're in. And here is where you'll enter your search criteria to pull up a property to see if it has PV data associated with it. If you are going to start a search, so here is my residential search form, and if I want to add the green building verifications and power production fields to that, I'm going to come over here and hit Customize Fields. What's already on the form is on the right. What's available to be added is on the left. And I'm just going to type in green. And I'm going to type in green again. Here we go. So here are the different fields available. So I'm going to add program 2, program 3, add those, and I'm going to come back and search for my power production fields. Sometimes you need to enter them more than once. So here's my power production type. So I'm going to add that, and it automatically adds them to the bottom of your search form, which is fine. And I'm going to hit Apply. And this is where they're going to be added to my form right here. So I can go ahead and select all of these for just one at a time, remember, because if you try and do all three, it's going to try and find a property that has every single one of those in every single spot, and that's not going to work. So without entering any status or any other filters, I see that there's a little over 5,000 listings in the system that have a building certification on them. So there are listings in the database that have these. and it is increasing every single day. So here I can come down and I'm going to search for solar, which is the photovoltaics. So I see, without entering again any status or any other search criteria, there are 16 listings in the database that have a green verification program and also solar right in that first section here. So I kind of cheated because I actually work in this space quite a bit. So my default search form has actually already been modified some to include the power production fields as well as a green verification program. But I only have one of the green verification programs fields, so I'm going to go ahead and add the other two. So again, I hit Customize Fields, and I am going to add in green verification program, program 2, program 3, add, and I'm going to save this. And you can adjust the columns. You can dragging and dropping. If you want to sort by something, you can just click on the column header and that will sort alphabetically for you. So you can see there's, without putting any other filters in, there's the listings here. So once I have this information, actually, let me pull up active listing here to show you. So this is the system default single family display. And it really doesn't have much in the way of, it has the first set of green verification program data, but that is it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the difference is with the green forms. So here's an agent green. It's going to include all of the same information as you are accustomed to seeing on an agent full. Except in here, it does have all 3 sets of the green certification program data and the power production fields as well. So this white box here, this is where those green marketing fields would live. Because they were put into a box, those are dynamic, so no values were entered there, so they're not going to show up on this particular report. So it still has the property information that you're accustomed to seeing. And then if I go look at the customer green, it's the same type of data, except just with the confidential agent level only field removed. All right. So this concludes my overview for the listing input and search for green program and power production fields in the NEREN MLS. I'll hang on for a little bit longer in case there's any questions. You can go ahead and enter those into the question box and I will answer them for you. Okay, if at any point you do have questions, you can certainly email support@neren.com and we can certainly help you through the process of finding the properties that you may be looking for or the fields that you need to populate when entering a listing in the NEREN MLS. So I thank you all for taking the time to attend this webinar this afternoon. And again, it is recorded, so it will be posted on our NEREN MLS YouTube channel for future reference if you so choose. So thank you all, and I hope you have a great afternoon.